Okay, perfect. Now we can get started. I'm so excited to see already 21 people connected to our first Let's Connect orientation session. Just a note before I start, we do have interpretation. There's the world button that you should see on your phones or on your desktop. You can, hello, Edward. So you can click on the Spanish channel or the French channel if you want to hear the live interpretation. I'll ask my good friend Mercedes just to be checking that the interpretation is working. And I will also try to speak slowly so that the interpreters can capture everything. If there's any language that we have not interpreted in this meeting, other than French or Spanish, then please send me a message and we will make sure to find a way to translate this presentation in other languages that may be needed. So just let us know, and for future reference, we will try to get more interpreters to participate. I will also ask Dora, great, thank you for sharing the decks that we're going to use. We might have to open the deck link, just 1 second. Dora, if you can also just make sure that the decks are available for everybody to view.
Yes, don't worry about it.
Okay, perfect. And I am going to start sharing my screen. Sorry, just 1 second here. Okay, are you all seeing the presentation, just to check? Can somebody just open their mic just to check?
Yes, Jessica, everybody is writing yes. We can see it.
Perfect. Okay. It's just whilst I organize all my different screens. Okay, well, welcome everybody. On behalf of the Let's Connect working group, we're pleased to have you here. My name is Jessica Stevenson. I work with the Learning and Evaluation. I work as the Learning and Evaluation Program Officer with the Community Resources team, the foundation. But more importantly, I'm part of a great team that is working on this program, Let's Connect. And it's a joint community and foundation-led team. And what I would like to do is now just quickly give them the space to, in a few seconds, present themselves. Not all of them are here today. Some of them will be in our session tomorrow. So I'll hand it over to Florencia to give a quick hello.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi, everyone. My name is Florencia Guastavino. I work in Wikimedia Argentina, and I'm part of Let's Connect team. So I'm really happy to be here and welcome everyone.
Okay. Can we hand it over to Dora?
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the session. We're so glad that you are here. We're so excited. My name is Dora Guidry, and I am a junior program officer in the Wikimedia Mother Foundation, and I'm part of the Let's Connect program. And I'll hand it over to, I think, Justice.
Has Justice joined?
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll hand it over to Justice if he's online later on. Okay, so this is our agenda today. The idea is that we do a 25-minute presentation where we can, first of all, just give a quick overview of Let's Connect. What is the program about? But we go into the detail of how the learning spaces are going to work and how you as participants are going to start connecting to those spaces and what are each of the steps, and we can resolve any doubts you might have or any feedback, because we want to build this together. And so if there is anything that you think that could be changed or improved, this is a great time that we can build the process together and receive any of your feedback. We also want to talk about some of the support services that you can access as participants of the program. And also some of you, when you registered, said that you would like to be learning ambassadors. So we also want to tell you what are the things that you can do and what are the next steps to become a wonderful ambassador for this program. Then we're going to open the space, the second half, to any feedback and questions, and we hope to close within the hour. So I'm going to try to be as clear and quick in the presentation as possible. So this is a very quick overview. Many of you have already seen our meta page or have seen the presentation. But what is Let's Connect? It's a peer learning program. So that is learning between colleagues, learning between members of the movement, that supports spaces so that we can share and learn from each other to further develop our skills, but more importantly, also to create human connections and mutual support as a movement that wants to be human-centered and build on solidarity and mutual aid. And this is very much aligned with the movement strategy. As you all know, the importance of capacity building, of skill sharing, of knowledge sharing. And we do not seek with Let's Connect to replace existing spaces that are already led by community members or by other staff in the foundation, but to complement them. So with this peer learning, we hope to open spaces and roads to further training, to further resource sharing, so that people that sometimes don't find out about spaces where they can connect to others or participate in events or other workshops, they can connect more easily to those spaces by being part of Let's Connect. So it's not only the spaces that we're promoting, but also the information and the connections that you can have with other spaces that already exist. This is really important for us and for many of you that were part of the brainstorm discussions to build this program. We want to promote a learning culture that encourages curiosity, that we value any type of question. There's no stupid questions, that we value errors. We value learning from mistakes, of talking honestly about things that didn't work as we expected, of sharing knowledge with a great sense of trust and not feeling that it's going to be misused. We value people who don't know about everything in Wikimedia and how things work, people like me, but come with maybe new ideas, and we're newcomers and we're just starting our journey in this movement. And we want to give space to people who are not often seen, that are doing amazing work, but that maybe they don't know where they can present it to others and share it. And this is why we are really focusing on offering all the support that is possible: interpretation, financial support, logistical support, so that everybody can participate in an inclusive way. We will have a large space for questions. So if you have questions as I present, please just make a note of them or ask them on the chat as we walk through this, and we'll come back to them in the second half of the session. So just to give you an idea of who is here today, this is great. We have, in the few weeks that we've opened registration, 76 people registered, almost half of those from the Middle East and Africa region, followed by South Asia and LAC region. So we're bringing in a lot of voices that are doing really interesting work, and we hope that these regions will be really active, and hopefully other regions will also start to register with time. A note about who this is aimed at. So we're really looking at any participant to register. It's an open registration, but a lot of what we will be sharing in these spaces is for organized work. There we go. If my colleagues can just help me with the
Back, Jessica.
Silencing the microphones, that would be great. Okay, so we're okay, no worries. So even if you've registered as an individual and you've registered what skills you want to learn and share, try to encourage other people in your group to join so that you can learn and share in these spaces as an organized group, as a collective group. More relevant for people who are looking to work with others to organize their work, rather than for just individual skills learning. This is the team. You can get to know our team and all the people participating when you go to our meta page, if Dora can help me link it in the chat. And we also have Anielka, who she will present herself at the end of the presentation, who is a fellow who is working with us from Nicaragua, and she's developing a lot of very interesting resources for our learning spaces. So what are the learning spaces? Let's Connect has two main forms of learning. One are through the learning clinics, which are more workshop-based, live virtual conversations that will happen on a monthly basis based on topics that are of interest to a number of people. And these will happen in groups of about 15 to 20 people with a prior registration, and we will be inviting some sharers to be able to lead these workshops. And the other one are the coffees and the teas. And these are more personalized, smaller connections between 1 or 2 people, 3 or 4 people maximum, where you can learn and share really based on your contextual specific needs around specific skills. So what we're going to go into now is straight into how these spaces work and what do you have to do to start being part of them. So let's start with the coffees and the teas, which are those one-on-one connections. The idea, as I said, is that they start with a live virtual encounter that can be around 1.5 hours. And then depending on the learning that is happening, the participants can decide whether they continue in further sessions, or they can share resources, or they can continue in other formats. But the idea is that the first connection happens with a virtual encounter, or we've called a virtual session. And there are 2 ways for these connections or matches to happen. We used to use the word matches a lot, but somebody said that sounds like Tinder. And so for those of you who like the word, you can continue to use it or use the word connections. But the idea is that this can happen in 2 different ways. The first is that the working group, so the team that is leading this, can help find the connection. So we are actively going to help you connect with others. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do that in a minute. And the second one is that participants, so you can go into our skills directory on our meta page, on the Let's Connect meta page, and find people to connect with and request that connection. And I'm going to explain these 2 different procedures one by one. So the first is the working group led connection. So the connections that we as a team help you make. What will happen in 4 steps? The first step is that once you've registered, we're going to be using a database to help identify good connections. Every 15 days, we will be making at least 5 different matches. So 5 matches between a learner and a sharer. I'm going to explain these 2 terms. Everybody for us, everybody who participates is a sharer. Everybody has something to share, a skill that they can teach others. However, in some spaces, people will be in the role of sharer, so in the role of being able to share that skill, the ones that you registered in the form. And in other spaces, people will be in the role of a learner. I'm going to learn that skill that somebody is sharing, right? So we're going to use that term sharer and learner just to be clear on what role that person is playing in a specific space. So we first send out an email to the sharer. So the person who has said, I want to share this skill, let's say, how to engage newcomers from underrepresented communities. This is the skill that I want to share. And we will link them to a questionnaire that will help us identify what is it that you want to share specifically? How do you want the other person to learn? Does that person have any skills or knowledge that they need to know before you meet with them? Because we don't want you to be frustrated when you reach to the session and maybe you're trying to teach something, but the other person needed to know some information beforehand that they could have understood through a document, or they needed to have maybe a skill or some knowledge before learning what you wanted to share with them. So it's really important that we take some time to prepare both the sharer and the learner so that they know how they're going to receive that knowledge and whether they are prepared to be able to learn in that space. Once that is confirmed, we will also be sending a link to either a Google Meet or a Calendly link with options for you to register your time, your preferred time as a sharer and date. And we will, based on this, send an email out to the learner with key information saying, this is how the sharer would like, this is what the sharer would like you to learn. This is what you should prepare if there's anything you need to prepare. And this will also be captured through a short questionnaire. So it may happen that when we make this connection, people say, oh, we're not ready to meet because we need to maybe prepare a little bit more for that meeting so that we're not frustrated in the meeting and it's a great meeting. So this preparation might seem a little bit long, but it's important so that we're setting everybody up for a successful encounter. Once both participants confirm their availability, we send a calendar invite for the session to take place. And in these 5 days, we support the sharers to prepare the session. So the sharer can say, I want to create this type of activity to present my case or to practice an activity with the learner. I want to do something dynamic, and the team will help you prepare that session. And if you need our support for facilitation and you request it, we will look at our availability to be able to be in that session. Hopefully for the first sessions, we'll be able to participate more. But with time, if we're going to have a lot of matches and a lot of people connecting, the idea is that happens more autonomously, and we're just there to support it. Once the session is completed, a feedback form will be sent so that you can tell us what worked, what is going to happen after the session. Maybe you'll have further sessions or you're going to share resources. And also there are resources that you used in the session that you can help share with everybody who's part of the program, and we can put on our meta page in the resource sharing section. So it can be a presentation, it can be a document, it can be guidelines, and that you've shared with that person, but you can also share with other people. Or maybe you want to record the session as well, so that we can also put that on our page, and people who didn't connect directly can also learn from your experience. So this is the step-to-step process when we as a team are helping you organize those spaces. The second form of connections, as I said, is when you directly go onto the skills directory to find a connection. And this is what I'm going to do now. I'm hoping that you can see it on my screen, the skills directory. Is that correct, Dora, if you can just confirm?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So this is where you go into the skills directory. This is just a test. You won't see it live yet, because in this session, we want to confirm with you if you think that this is good and useful, or what changes we should make before we create this for all 76 participants from now till Friday. So part of the feedback we want in the second half of the session is for you to tell us if this looks good. It's not a perfect directory where we can do really interesting matches. Everybody knows that Meta is very limited for this. And the reason we didn't want to develop something is that the Capacity Exchange Initiative is an initiative led by some of the European affiliates, and they are building a system to do these matches. So we are hoping to use their system once it's developed, and we will just use this basic Meta page for now. And we will connect it to that system. So how does the skills directory work? The first thing, we go into the skills directory page. If you can copy the link there as well, Dora, to the test account. And here are a couple of instructions of how to browse the skills directory and some tips of how to look for people. So you want to look for people who are a good match, because they've said that they want to connect in live coffees and teas, because they share your time zone. Sharing the same language can make a connection easier, but don't feel that that should be a limitation, because you will be able to, when you fill out the questionnaire, saying, for this session, I need interpretation services so that it can happen. Once you've looked at that criteria, you can go into these two sections here. So the first is, what do I want to learn? And you are going to find, based on the skills that you want to learn, people who have said that they share those skills. So I go here into a skills category, organizational skills. If you remember, when you registered, there were different categories of skills, 4 different categories. So here you'll find all the organizational skills that you can learn from. This is just a model, so they're not all listed yet. Proposal writing for funding. Yes, this is the skill that I want to learn. Who is sharing this skill? Sorry. Who is sharing this skill? I'm going to see here, there's a page of somebody who's sharing that skill. I go to that person's page. And here, so Musa is not connected, but we've used him as an example. I'm going to have a profile page for Let's Connect, where I have all the information that was in some of the information that was on the registration form. What are the Wikimedia projects that I developed? What languages? What are my preferred time zones? What region I'm in? What are my areas of interest, and what are the skills that I want to learn, and what are the skills that I want to share, right? So I'm looking at this person and I say, well, I would like to learn from this person, and they are proposing to share this skill, which is proposal writing for funding. So I want to connect with this person, and I will click, I want to connect. Then you will be taken to a page where we will give you a series of instructions of what will happen next. And you will have a link to the form. It's not here yet because we're making some changes to the questionnaire. And you will immediately go to the questionnaire to request that connection. What will happen after that is that once we know how you want to share with that person, what are your expectations, what is it specifically that you are looking for to learn from that person, then we will connect you via an email. And I'm just going to go back. Dora, if you can, or somebody in the team, just make sure we're admitting the people who are in the waiting room, because there's a few people there. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just going to go back to the presentation here. Okay. So here in the slides is just an explanation of what I did now directly on the Meta page. So you can go back to review it. As I mentioned, the questionnaire for sharers is going to be to capture information. It shouldn't take more than 15 minutes to do, about how you hope the person will learn, if they need to prepare anything, what activities you want to do in the session, and if you need financial or logistical support for that specific session. And the questionnaire for learners will include why do you want to learn this skill? Like, how are you hoping to apply it? Do you want the sharer to review any material beforehand? And again, logistical and financial support that you might need. So this is what you're going to find in the questionnaire. Within 8 days of receiving your questionnaire, we will then send you and your connection an email to confirm that you've connected. And we will do the same process of sending a calendar link. In this case, the sharer can send the invite directly, but we can also support it if needed. In future, this connection could happen perhaps more autonomously, like we can share the emails directly in the skills directory. And if you want to make that information public, we can make that information public. But we wanted to make sure that we went through this process first so that we could best support you and make sure that that connection is prepared for a successful encounter, right? As I mentioned in the beginning, this is a pilot. We're going to be testing the process. So if we see that it takes too long, or the connections aren't happening, or it would be easier if we just put everybody's email on the skills directory and everybody just connected, directly without this process, then that's something that we can change. And this is why your feedback is so important. But to have a little bit more control of the process to be able to best support you, we've decided that we're going to start with this procedure first. And again, once the connection takes place, once the live meeting takes place, we will ask for some follow-up through a form so that we can see what worked and if you need any further support. Please note any questions. I know that's a lot of information. Please note any questions you may have so we can go back to them in a few minutes. The second type of learning space, so I remember I said there are the coffees and the teas, those one-on-one connections. The second type of space are the workshops, which are the learning clinics. And these happen, again, they're live sessions, but they're bigger groups of 15 to 20 people. And this can happen in 3 different formats, 3 different ways. One, it can be there will be a monthly clinic that we will put on our calendar in a meta page based on topics of interest. So for example, the next learning clinic is around qualitative evaluation methods. And we're bringing in an external case, and we're looking at some of you who said you wanted to share your expertise, your skills in qualitative evaluation to come in as sharers and present your case. So these clinics we will be publishing on the calendar, and we will be sending you an invite to participate based on your interests. But you can also be checking the calendar to register to any of the monthly clinics. We'll also have some clinics that are around proposal writing phases that are linked to our funding phases for the Wikimedia funds. So those of you who are interested in applying or are coming up to reporting the results of your fund process, we'll be having special clinics to be able to develop those proposals and the reporting. And finally, the learning clinics that are proposed by learning ambassadors themselves. So participants like yourselves who say, I want to participate as a learning ambassador, I want to create learning clinics, you can propose them and we will help you organize them. And so we hope that several of them will happen in this way as well. So how, as I mentioned, how will you participate in the learning clinic? As I said, if you said that you wanted to share some skills, we will be asking you to participate in some of the clinics. And based on your learning interest, we will invite you to these clinics to participate as a learner. Just a note that the calendar is also on our meta page. And once we have a learning clinic, we'll always share the resources of the clinic. So share, for example, the recording of the session and the deck of the session or any material that was shared, so that you can also go back to any session that you didn't participate in and view what was recorded. Of course, when the workshops are very interactive with a lot of breakout rooms or also people sharing things that they don't want to be recorded, you won't get the full recording, but maybe some of the key information we will be able to record in those sessions. Here is just an information about the upcoming clinics that we have, but keep an eye out for the calendar. And finally, if you are a learning ambassador, what can you do? So many of you, I think most of you said, you know, beyond being a participant, I also want to be a learning ambassador for Let's Connect. These are the 3 tasks you can do. So pick any of them or all 3, depending on the time that you have. But one of them is bring more people into the program. So we have a communications kit that is linked in there. If you can't access the kit or you don't understand about the documents that are there, you can send me an email, send the group an email, and we will help you with those communications. But basically, there are messages that you can send via email, via Telegram, social media. You can have images of the program so that you can share with others. The second task you can do is we will be sending you an email with the link to propose a learning clinic. So how to propose a learning clinic. And you can fill that out so that we can start scheduling that learning clinic with you. And the other thing that you can do is support participants in your community to make connections using the skills directory. So an ambassador can share this information that we're sharing today, orientate new participants, and help them find those connections using the skills directory. So those are the 3 tasks that learning ambassadors can have. Finally, a bit about the support for participants. So this support is either for any sharer or any learner or any ambassador. We said in the registration form that if you needed support, that would be available. And there are 2 ways to make this support happen. Financial support, which is either a stipend, so it's an amount of money that you receive to cover any costs that participating may imply. For example, connectivity, or I need some time so I can prepare my information to share, and you will have a stipend for the number of sessions that you participate in. Once you have confirmed your participation in a session and that you need that financial support, we will give you the steps of how to do that and hopefully make it as easy as possible. The other option is that if your organization already has a grant with the Wikimedia funds, we can add resources to that grant as an amendment, and you will also be able to use those resources to participate in the program, right? So each case we will be looking at to see which is the best way to offer that financial support. As I mentioned as well, translation or interpretation. I need translation to be able to share materials that I have in my language to the language that the person I'm connecting with. You can ask us for that interpretation or translation, and depending on our availability, the availability of our pool of translators, we will see how that can be done, especially for what we're doing today, this live interpretation to different languages. And finally, if there's any logistical support, like I want to connect with somebody, but I don't know how to use Zoom, or I don't know how to use Google Meets or any other platform, I need logistical support, or I need you to help me facilitate the meeting, then we will support you as best we can. All this request for support will be through the questionnaire for each specific session. So when you registered initially, you said, yes, I might need the support, but when you connect with somebody or you're proposing a learning clinic, that's when we will see exactly what it is you need so that we can organize that the best way possible. I will end here. I'm sorry it took a little bit longer than expected, but we have 20 minutes now for open questions, feedback, discussion. Just to say that the registration is going to be open throughout the pilot phase. So anybody can register, as I said, that are part of organized groups. So hopefully registering as an organization from March to July, which will be our testing phase. After July, what we're going to do is learn from what worked, what didn't work, and collectively with you think of how this can continue in the future. And here is our general email and our meta page link and the diff posts where we have announced the program that you can also use to share with colleagues. Thank you very much. Dora, I'm sorry I went through the whole thing, but if you would like to complement anything in a couple of minutes, and Justice, Anielka, Florencia, feel free to also complement.
Thank you, Jessica. I think you went it like in a very good way. I think it was like a very comprehensive presentation. I don't know, I'll pass it to Florencia or someone who wants to add something.
Thank you, Dora. I agree. I think that was everything really complete. Maybe we can pass to the questions. There are some in the chat, so maybe we can discuss about them.
Yes, agree. Should I read first the questions in the comment section, or should we start by like opening the discussion?
Yeah, I think we can start by, if anybody wants to make their question verbally, they can raise their hand or just open their mic. Okay, we'll start with the questions in the chat. It might be easier this way. So do you want to read the question, Dora?
Yes, sure. Okay, so the first one was, I have a question. What if one wants to hide his real identity, like someone might want to hide his like real name or area? I think this is like referring to the profile part. Okay. Should I read all the questions and then, or should we go one by one?
Yeah, I think we can go one by one. I think that there's definitely information that cannot be shared there. And we did say at the end of the form, if there's anything you don't want us to share in that profile, then please let us know. So initially we had shared the whole skills directory like spreadsheet. That won't be shared anymore. The only information that will be shared is that one that you've seen in the test profile. If there's anything that you don't want to be shared there, or you do want to be shared, say you can share my email or you can share any other information, then let us know. But it would be a little bit hard for it to be completely anonymous, because the idea is that you do have a live connection and you share resources based on your experience. So I'm open to see what other people think about it, and maybe we can think of a way of anonymous participation, but I think it would be a little bit difficult. But yeah, I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on that.
I think you already answered the second questions also, Jessica, where they say, yeah, I did not realize the form was going to be shared as it is. I think like you explained, the form won't be shared as it is. There are definitely confidential information. And on the form, there is also like this like description where we like clearly stated the privacy part and everything. So it won't be shared. But as Jessica also explained, like the program is based on like meetings and one-to-one coffees. So basically, at the end, like you said, Jessica, we can like there is no like the identity won't be hidden at the end of the call or meeting. Please, anyone, you are free, like feel free to like express yourselves. You can ask questions. This is definitely a safe environment.
Somebody can help us with the translation of the French questions. I think that would be nice.
Yes, okay. He's asking about what are kind of information that will be available on Meta.
What kind of information on Meta?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the information in terms of your personal profile or in general? If you can just check with him. With Donatien. Personal profile, okay. Yeah, so this is the proposal. I'm just going to share again so we can just check. Sorry, it's this one. So this will be the information, your username, your name, some of the information on your preferred times to connect, the language, what group you're part of, what are the main projects you work on, your areas of interest, which we also captured from the form. And then these are the skills that you mentioned that, well, Musa in this case mentioned that he would like to learn, and what are the skills he would like to share. This was just a test. We've left this just in case people want to edit and put in their photo. If not, they just can leave it blank. Then you can also edit this information, like by putting in resources that you want to share with others or on your page. So the idea is that you can also edit this, it's linked to your user page on Meta as well. Why have we done it in this way? It's because it was the easiest way on Meta, because there's no way on Meta to have like good filtering possibilities. So we worked with somebody on the team who's very good with Meta, and he came up with this idea of like, let's do it through profile pages, because that means that we can have a way of filtering here who wants to share per skill, but also per region, per country, per language. So this is the best we came up with, but if any of you are really good on Meta and you have any other ideas, you can share it with us, and we'll definitely rethink this, but we had several discussions to see what was the best way. So that will be your profile page. As I said, you can tell us that any of this information you don't want to share. Sharing more information will help you connect, or people who want to connect with you find it easier if they know a bit more about you, but you're free to leave minimum amount of information. Definitely the skills that you want to share are important, because that's the way that people are going to connect with you. Somebody asked in the chat, what are the skills? I think it might have been.
Yes.
Oliur Rahman. What are the skills? So when you registered for the program, we used these 4 categories of skills. So organizational skills, so around things like building your organization strategy, financial planning. There's a whole list of skills, which actually we should put on our Meta page as well. We don't have it published. It was just in the registration form. And then there's the second category, which are learning and evaluation skills, which are like tools for qualitative evaluation of your work, quantitative evaluation as well. So using tools to gather metrics, documenting your knowledge in ways that you can communicate with others. There's a whole list of other skills here. Interpersonal skills, so those skills that help our work, they're really important beyond technical skills. So how to create safe and inclusive environments, how to resolve conflicts, how to create kind of healthy interactions, nonviolent communication, empathy, all these skills that we know are very important. And then programmatic and tactical skills. Sorry, there's 5 categories here. This person, Musa, didn't have the 5th one up, but so skills that are related to work that you directly do, for example, like training newcomers or work in GLAM or work in education. And then there's like on wiki specific skills as well. So using specific tools, technical tools, but all that list is in the registration form. So the learning clinics are going to be mostly around the first 2 categories. So more common skills around organization, proposal writing, learning and evaluation, maybe some programmatic skills as well. And then the one-on-one coffees and teas can be around any of these skills, depending on the connections that you make personally or we help you make as a team. Just let me know if that wasn't clear and I'll try to, or I'll ask somebody in the team to explain it better.
I think Evelyn is raising her hand.
Oh, yes,
Or
please
his
go
hand.
ahead, Evelyn.
Yeah, just a quick question. Because I think that I didn't know that it was going to be shared was a form like in its entirety. So, for example, with column BC, the interesting stories about applying the skills they want to share, I just put something, and I feel that people put like not applicable or didn't even answer that. And so I'm wondering if that's like a column that we can either hide or also offer the option to rectify some of the information.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that sheet that you're seeing now, we're going to take it down today, so that where that information will not be there. In the profile, we haven't shared that part of the stories but we could add that information, and you can edit it directly on the profile if you like. We didn't include some of those qualitative answers precisely because some people didn't answer, others did. So we're going to use that information for the connections that we make, but we didn't include it in the profile. But if you like, you can include it, because that any information that you can add about your experience or about what you would like to share or some of your cases, I think that makes your profile more interesting and better to connect with people. Does that make sense, Evelyn?
Yeah, now they are public. Just wanting to make sure about it.
Yeah, thanks for that. And we are taking that down today. Thank you. Your profiles, if we all agree, because we didn't want to go ahead and create all the profiles without a general agreement. If you all agree, the profiles will be created by Friday, this Friday. But if you have any suggested changes or reservations, we can rethink it.
I think there is a question from Donatien that it's regarding the same. Is this information available publicly or only on Let's Connect for Let's Connect participants?
It's public. It's on Meta, so it's for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Thanks, Frances.
And Musa has her hand, their hand up.
Ah, Musa. We've been talking about you. Didn't realize you were there.
Hello, I've seen my profile been displayed.
Go ahead.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. Hope you can all hear me.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah. I have a few suggestions. First of all, I would like to say, for me personally, it's okay that you can proceed with the profile. You say you can be able to update it to Friday, right? Friday. Yeah, I think that would be okay. And for the profile again, and for their particular instance of copy and tea, I think it will be better. Like, this is my own suggestion, my personal suggestion, that I think it would be better if maybe you put people's email on their profiles, so that when you want to connect with somebody, when somebody shared something that you wanted to learn, like the sharer, and you want to learn something from that particular person, that particular sharer, you can be able to go to his profile and the Let's Connect the particular profile he has, and I think having this email there would be like an easy way to access him, to like talk to him and be able to find maybe the suitable time that you guys can be able to like see and have a discussion or have a coffee and tea program, so that you can be able to share what he has with you and everything. I think that idea of sharing email on each and every participant's profile is better for me personally.
Thanks, Musa. That's a really interesting proposal. And I'd like to open also to other people if they think that sharing the email directly is a good idea. The only thing that we would ask is when people make the connection that at least they fill out the form so that we know that they've emailed the person and that we can support you in anything that's needed. It's through the form, through the questionnaire, that we know what support you need, and also just to make sure that the people are ready to connect. And that links to a question that I think was asked around, like, how do I know that the person has the skill? And I think one point is here, we value everybody's knowledge. So everybody who says that they have a skill, they have something to share about it. It may not be everything you want to learn, or you may have a different concept of that skill. So the first thing is to trust that everybody has something interesting that we can share. But that's why we're also putting a lot of effort into the preparation, and why we would like to have that time to fill out the questionnaire, share any relevant documentation, or to make sure that the person has the right skills or the right experience to be able to make that encounter the best encounter possible, right? So we're hoping that going through that procedure, we will make sure that the connection works the best way. But we can't guarantee that, that the person will have all the skills that you want, or the exact skills that you were hoping for, in the level of detail that you were hoping for. But for sure, you'll be able to learn from that person and, find out where else you can learn more. I don't know if anybody, Justice, or I'd like other people also in the team, Florencia, and Anielka, if you would like to also present yourself, I would introduce yourself, that would be great.
Gracias, Jessica. Bueno, buenos días por acá desde Nicaragua. Son las 10 de la mañana. Buenas tardes, buenas noches. ¿Sí?
Un segundo. For anybody, Anielka is going to speak in Spanish, so you can activate the English channel just to hear her introduction. You can use the little world icon and activate English to be able to hear. Okay, Anielka, adelante.
Gracias, Jessica. No, les decía que buenos días desde Nicaragua, buenas tardes, buenas noches, dependiendo de donde nos estén acompañando. Para mí es un gusto poder estar hoy con tanta variedad cultural. La verdad es de que yo soy la que voy a aprender un montón con todos ustedes. Contenta de ver la participación que hemos tenido el día de hoy. Eso habla muy bien y muestra el interés que tienen cada uno en este nuevo espacio que vamos a tener. Cualquier cosa que necesiten, vamos a estar a su disposición. En lo personal me pueden buscar y ahí los vamos a estar guiando. Bienvenidos.
Gracias, Anielka. Bukola, your hand is up.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Just thank you for this for coming up with such initiative, and I believe it's a way for Wikimedians, both new and existing ones, to connect and learn and even share their knowledge. So just to lay more emphasis on whether the profile of the sharer and the learner should be on the meta page, I'll suggest that I think it's best that those profile are on the meta page, on the skill directory, so that if a learner wants to maybe get something from a sharer, it will be easy for you to know that this person has what I want to learn, and you can easily just reach out to the person by looking at the person's profile on the skill directory. But if there is no profile for that person on the skill directory, it becomes a little bit difficult for you to really know who has what and whether you want to learn from that person. So I think it's best that the profile is on, but I would just maybe advise that you put an edit button, so that for those people who might have maybe filled one or two skills which they discover that they are not capable of maybe teaching someone, then they can easily just edit those skills that they have identified out and leave it blank. So that's just my own suggestion. And more so, I would also like to talk about the translation tool on Zoom. It's really not translating the other languages well, because for the speaker that just finished speaking now, it was just giving us some other translation, like we couldn't really understand what the person was saying. So I don't know if you can improve on that, on the translation too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bukola. It's a great proposal. Just to confirm, the interpretation that's on the channel in French or Spanish, right?
Yes, I mean translation from Spanish to English. It's not clear at all. It's just bringing up some translation that are not in line with what the person is saying.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any? Oh, we're 1 minute over, so I think we have to close. I just would like Florencia to complement anything.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. No, just to complement about what the skills that the persons have and what we will be learning about that skill. It's really important for us is that you can complete the forms when you participate as a share or as a learner, because there you will have a lot of information that then we can pick up to match with other persons. So it's really important to fill in the forms, and everything you feel that you know, you can put it there. And if you feel that you don't know something, it's also interesting to participate as a learner in that case, because as Jessica said before, everyone has something to learn and everyone has something to share. So it's really interesting that we participate in both cases in that ways. But there, when you will receive the forms, you will have a place to put everything you want to share and to learn. So it's really important to fill in that information for us to have the match that are really work very well done and that are better. Sorry, I'm not speaking right in English, but I think that it's really important for you to fill in the forms.
Perfectly well explained, Florencia. Muy bien. Thanks for complimenting so well. Okay, so Evelyn, thank you, and thank you for everybody. I'm sorry we were 3 minutes over. The next steps will be, we will be sharing this recording and the deck on the meta page and the calendar, and we will be sending you all the information on your profile, the link to your profile, and the forms so that you can get started. But it will all be on Meta by Friday. So start connecting, and I hope to see you. We hope to see you very, very soon in all these spaces.
I also want to close by reading some great messages, like Jessica. For example, thank you. I'm really excited about the program. Hope it will be a fantastic journey with Let's Connect. Congratulations to the team on putting this together. This is a great initiative, and it's a great learning process.
Wonderful. Thank you for that encouraging message. And thank you to all of you too for being here today and for being participants. I think somebody had their hand up. I'm not sure if they still want to make a comment, Kemi. But if not, we will. Are we going to have a WhatsApp group, Kemi? Great question. We can create, I think most people use Telegram. We can create a group, and send an invite for those who want to join. It's optional, but I think it's a nice way to keep in touch as well. Or a Discord channel. I haven't used Discord, but does anybody else want to comment on what they would prefer? Discord, WhatsApp, Telegram? Telegram should be okay.
Well, I
Okay.
think Telegram would be okay because when new people join, they can have access to the old messages. So I think Telegram will be a great platform.
Perfect. Okay. So we'll send a Telegram link as well. Optional to join. Don't want to keep you up at night, but we'll be using it all very strategically. Bueno, muchas gracias a todos en español. And to those who speak French, I will learn French soon. I'm sorry. But perhaps.
I'll do it for you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Merci tout le monde.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you and bye-bye from East Africa, Uganda.
Oh,
thank
you,
Dre.
Jay.
Hi, Jessica. Whilst everyone is leaving, let me just find out this. Is that a real bicycle at your back? I really miss riding bicycle.
It is a real bicycle, yes. Although unfortunately it's not in use yet. But I'm
Then
going to take it
I'll
out.
come for a ride. So just reserve it for me. I'm coming around for a ride.
It's here for you. It's here for you. Maybe you can use it for the first time.
we use the big one here in Ghana, in West Africa. So I think it looks very much similar.
Oh, excellent. Well, it's waiting for you in Prague to come in and use it.
All right. Nice connecting with you all and more better days ahead. I'm signing out, West Africa, Ghana, Tamale. Bye.
Bye-bye. Nice to see you. Thanks, Sukanta. Nice to see you.